And he basically turned around to me and said, "Don't care, mate." The bloke is not scared of anything.
So, Jack, do you want to shoot first? We are going to start with props. Now, we haven't broken this down into tight head and loose head. We are just going with who the best props are, whether it is a loose head or a tight head. Would you like to make your first pick?
Yeah, and being the Irishman you are, I'm going to ensure that I take one of your men nice and early. So, Todd Furlong, he's straight in there. Some of the best hands in world rugby when it comes from a prop. He's got the sidestep, he's got the hands. He's just a bit of a unit all in all, and one of the best scrummagers in the world. So, Todd Furlong is going to be my first choice.
Yeah, no doubt. Signed that new sweet deal with the IRFU to keep him there till the 2027 World Cup. So that's great to see. No, obviously you're not going to get any disagreement from my side on that. Furlong is the bedrock of the Irish pack. You could see in November how much they missed him, not just from scrummaging. Finlay Beelam's been great, but like you said, the ball playing from Furlong is really what unlocks part of that Irish attack. His ability to pull the ball back, pull off long passes, phenomenal. And he's been one of the best players in the world for quite some time at this stage. I am going to get in nice and early with a Springbok, just to keep some people on side before we lose people clicking out of this video. Ox Nuche, phenomenal. For me, the best loose head in the world in terms of scrummaging. I haven't seen a match where he hasn't had a major effect over the past 18 months, where he just always wins scrum pens. Tight heads find him so difficult to get around. He seems to get underneath them and just corkscrew them, I guess. Again, for me, he's the best scrummaging loose head in the world. Just wondered if there was any arguments from you on that side.
I mean, no. As much as I'd love to give a reason not to pick a South African, no, I'd have to throw him in. I mean, he doesn't eat salads, as he's well known for saying, because they don't win scrums, and I think he's proven that. He was pretty unbelievable during the Autumn Nations and sort of throughout the years, and obviously he was incredible for South Africa in the World Cup. So I think he's got to be in there, and I feel that he will be pushing for that number one spot.
Brilliant, brilliant, great to hear. Cool. Who have you got as your next prop?
Well, I'm going to be looking at the other side of the world to us. We're going to be going for a New Zealand prop called Tyrrell Lomax. Now, the man doesn't need too much introduction. He has become one of the best props in world rugby. Obviously, playing for a New Zealand side that perhaps are not quite as strong as they have been in previous years. But Tyrrell certainly is one of the stronger props that they've had in their time. And now he is 28 years old, so he is in his prime, and he is going to be most likely the first choice prop come 2027 for the next World Cup. So he goes straight in, and he was utterly fearless this Autumn Nations series, particularly against England, ensuring that England never got that real sort of standing in the scrum. So he was absolutely terrific for New Zealand. So he goes straight in.
Yeah, no arguments. I mean, the All Blacks are phenomenal. I mean, if you look a year ago, you kind of had concerns about where they were in that front row. But you've got, Tamate Williams, you've got Lomax, like you're saying, Fletcher Newell. There's just some serious depth coming through there. I mean, I don't know why we're surprised. It's New Zealand. They've obviously we're going to figure it out. And I guess that it's all a bit skewed when you're scrummaging against the best pack in the world with the Springboks. So frequently, things can look a lot worse than they are. But the All Blacks seem to be on the up and up there. And like you said, Lomax is key to that. So yeah, no argument here. I am going to try and get one in before you veto. I'm just going to put one out there that and again, he's been phenomenal for Ireland. Andrew Porter, I know he's had the scrummaging, a couple of scrummaging issues, namely in that World Cup quarter final where Wayne Barnes decided all of a sudden that Andrew Porter didn't know how to scrum, despite reffing him multiple times and letting him kind of come out on top multiple times. I just think he's so dynamic, and in terms of importance for Ireland and Leinster, it's unequivocal. He's probably on Furlong's level in terms of importance, just purely because the depth behind him is just not quite there yet. There's a lot of young props coming through, but as a ball player, he plays what, pretty much 80 minutes nearly week in, week out for Leinster and Ireland. And if anyone watched the Champions Cup with Leinster Clermont this week, I mean, Claremont got a break inside the Leinster 22, and he chased them all the way down. Sorry, from Claremont's 22 all the way down, and he stopped a certain try for Claremont that probably could have swung the momentum in that match with Leinster's attack misfiring. I just think he's phenomenal. I do have multiple other options that we can put forward there, but for me, I think Andrew Porter is the one.
Well, do you know what? After the I think it's the Ireland Argentina game, I spoke to Andrew Porter, and they were coming up to face Australia about 2 weeks afterwards. So I asked him how concerned he was about his side facing the Wallabies and Suolihi, and he basically turned around to me and said, "I don't care, mate." The bloke is not scared of anything. He's a world-class operator, and yeah, he deserves a spot in there. Admittedly, I wouldn't have put him in the top five, but he certainly does have a shout of doing so. So I completely appreciate that one. My final choice would have to be Antonio, the experienced French prop. He has been around for many years, and although he's now reached the age of 34, he is still got the skill level and the strength and the ability that made him such a damaging prop for so many years. Like I say, he's 34 now, so he is starting to get over the hill. So how long we'll see him for, how many more seasons is debatable. But right now, he would make it into my top five.
Yeah, no, Antonio, yeah. It's interesting with him. It's funny because he's obviously been around, a good while with La Rochelle, and he's come through their whole journey. It was quite funny that he actually they played him at second row in the early days. And interestingly, I don't know how you would ever consider lifting him, which they obviously didn't. So they then shifted him, and he's obviously become one of the best tight heads in the world. It'll be interesting to see how much longer he does stick around because after the World Cup, there was talks of him retiring, but obviously he's still going strong with La Rochelle. Whether he'll keep knocking about will be really interesting, but it's just a man mountain. And I agree, he's just phenomenal. And he's so key to La Rochelle and France, as they saw in November. George Henri Colombe behind him is going to be a good player, has a lot of promise, but just a lot of scrummaging issues. For me too, obviously Cyril Bay is phenomenal for France. I mean, it's hard picking props, right? Because there's so many good ones. I mean, you look at Stephen Kitsoff, obviously had that scary injury where I just saw a quote that he said he was 2 millimeters from dying, essentially, if the injury had gone any further. So he's had that big surgery. When he's fit and firing, he's phenomenal, one of the best loose heads in the world. So I mean, there's just strength and depth everywhere, isn't there? Really, when you look across all the top nations. So I guess that concludes our props. I guess the biggest thing is just ranking them from 1 to 5 now. I'll tell you my order, you tell me yours, and we'll see where we come to on that. And for me, I'm going to go with Oxnoche at number 1. I'm going to go Tadhg Furlong 2, Antonio 3. I'm gonna go. Oh, now it's getting tricky. Let's go Lomax 4 and Porter 5 for me.
Ooh, I mean, I was going to have Antonio number five.
Interesting.
I mean, he's a hell of a player, and he's been around for a long time. Got 60 odd caps for France. So he's experienced, and you want him in your side. But at the moment, due to his increasing age, is he a better player than Andrew Porter? Is he a better player than Tyrell Lomax? I don't think so. I think I choose the younger fellas over them. So I'd obviously have Furlong at number two. So number one and two the same, but then I'd have Lomax, Porter, Antonio.
Yeah,
Which is great.
I'm pretty happy with that selection. That sounds about right to me. So that works well. So Ox takes first place in our props, which is great.